Welcome to Ayurveda and Spirituality with your host, Alakananda Ma, a renowned Ayurvedic expert and a graduate of a top London medical school. She is the principal of Alundi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship-style school in Boulder, Colorado. She is a spiritual mother, teacher, flower essence maker, and storyteller. Join us as we uncover the timeless principles of Ayurveda, discover practical tips for enhancing vitality, and explore the deeper dimensions of spirituality that intertwine with the ancient science of life.
Hello, everyone. On this New Year's Day, at the beginning of 2026, let us think about beginnings and endings. What we call the beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. And that is from one of my favorite poems, Little Gidding, by T.S. Eliot in 4 quartets. New Year's is always a poignant time for me because on New Year's Eve 2008, my father, Peter Daniel Huddis, breathed his last. And it was a very fitting time for his life to culminate. Dad always loved New Year's. He enjoyed singing Auld Lang Syne, listening to the ships sounding their sirens in the port, back when there used to be ships in the port in Ipswich, and first footing across the threshold with a lump of coal. He loved the sense of adventure and freshness that each new year of his long life brought. So it was New Year's Eve, and then we sat with his body for some time. And then, together with my siblings, I left the ward, and right as we exited the hospital into the car park, the sky lit up with fireworks and church bells pealed through frosty air. It was the stroke of midnight, and a new year was beginning in joy and loud cheering. And I really felt strongly the words embroidered by Mary, Queen of Scots, when she was in prison before she was beheaded, "In my end is my beginning." But you see, that frosty night was not my father's first encounter with Yama, the Lord of Death. My parents' love story was a remarkable one, and not just because it played out against the backdrop of the London Blitz. And not just because relationships between Jews and Christians, like theirs, were rare and frowned on at the time. There was something much bigger at 17. Shortly after meeting my mother, my father was diagnosed with pulmonary TB and sent away to a sanatorium. There was no cure for tuberculosis in 1942. And after some months, he was sent home to die. But love healed what no medicine could. 66 years, 4 children, 5 grandchildren, many mountain peaks, and a golden wedding anniversary lay ahead, before he did indeed die, as each of us must. Dad didn't talk about the sanatorium much, but one time he took me for a walk along the seawall, and he told me about it. His time in the sanatorium was a sojourn in the halls of death. He was given the job of pushing the library trolley from ward to ward. He said that was really a chilling experience because that gave him a weekly glimpse of what lay ahead of him as he visited the wards full of more advanced cases and thought, this is to be me. This time in the hall of Yama, together with the daily brushes with death that he had experienced in London during the Battle of Britain, made my father resolve to live his life in the cause of peace, raising children who would advance peace in the world. So this really makes me think of Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad opens with the story of a youth, Nauchiketas, who, just like Dad, takes a journey into the halls of death. Nauchiketas' father, in a fit of temper, gives his son away to death. Winning 3 boons from Yama, the Lord of Death, Nauchiketas takes death as a teacher of the ultimate meaning of life. And indeed, it is death that endows life with meaning. I always think of the short story The Immortal by existentialist author Louis Borges, where he explores the theme of physical immortality. The abyss of endless time reduces life to meaninglessness and ennui, for without death there is no freedom, no choice. Endless time, like a vast desert, engulfs the capacity to choose. The value of anything I choose in this brief and mortal existence rests on the fact that time is finite, so choice has value. My life has a limited number of years, so if I spend those years with you, that choice has meaning. My day has a limited number of hours. If I spend an hour with you, it has meaning because I chose this over other things. The finitude of our life, the fact of our mortality, that's what offers us the invitation to make meaningful choices. So taking death as his teacher, Nauchiketas discovers faith, Shraddha, not in the sense of believing in theological postulates, but in Paul Tillich's sense of ultimate concern. Here's a little poem song I made. Oh brother, oh sister, don't waste this precious human life on idle pleasures and futile cares. Fame and wealth mean nothing when you die. You can't bring with you even one needle. This life will vanish like a dream, or like the clouds before the rising sun. Nobody knows when death will come, so take the holy name while you can, and do a little kindness every day. Yes, do a little kindness every day. So behind this wee poem is a story of the great Jewish teacher, the Bal Shem Tov. So one day the Bal Shem Tov is told that one of his chassids, Soli, a merchant, is on his deathbed. So the Rebbe arrives and Soli is lying on his deathbed, running his business, saying his sons, this man owes us this much, don't forget to ship out that. He's lying there running his business. The Bal Shem Tov comes up to him and he says, I need your help, Soli. Remember your old friend Reuven who died a few weeks ago? I saw him in a dream, and there's a problem. He has a tear in his shroud, and he can't enter the world to come. You'll be going his way soon. Would you bring him a needle? But, Rebbe, you know I can't. If you can't even carry a needle with you, says the Rebbe, why worry about all this? Back when I was a teenager and I had a hard time making friends, I decided to be my own best friend, and I appointed 3 others to become my friends, and they were Keats, Shelley, and T.S. Eliot. They were my friends who carried me through those lonesome teenage years. The grave of the great poet T.S. Eliot carries a twofold inscription. In my beginning is my end, and in my end is my beginning. In my beginning is my end refers to mortality, to the fact of death and impermanence. As the Buddha said, all compounded entities must decay. Strive on with diligence. Yes, our body is a compounded entity and it must die. Yet as we've seen, it's our very mortality that endows our span on earth with meaning. Choice is the gift of Yama. In the halls of Yama, diagnosed with a fatal and incurable illness, my father chose life and love. Having sought and found meaning in the jaws of death, he lived his life with a passion and thirst for adventure and exploration, and a profound understanding of how to walk in ways of peace and to guide us, his kids, in these ways. So going back to Katha Upanishad, Nachiketas, he has to make a very important choice. He's offered 3 boons. What's he going to pick? The first boon, it's one any child in his position might ask for. He wants Dad to love him. He wants his father to be happy and reconciled with him. For his second boon, he asks to learn specific rituals that will lead to heaven. But then comes the final boon. Nauchiketas asks Yama to answer the ultimate question. What happens when we die? No. Yama tries every possible way to put the boy off. He offers him fabulous wealth, luxuries, vast lands, even kingship. But Nauchiketas points out that all these things are impermanent. And here, in the halls of death, they have no meaning. He insists on the boon he has chosen, to know the meaning of death, and hence of life. And death gives a very simple answer. There's a fundamental choice in life, a choice between the good and the pleasant. By choosing his final boon, Nauchiketas has already chosen the good. We make this choice in a big way once in our lifetime, when we choose to step on the spiritual path. And once we've made this choice, we'll be held to it. If we step off the path, we'll be guided back. But we face this choice in myriad small ways throughout each day. It takes constant discrimination to choose the good, to examine each possibility and ask, does it benefit? In my beginning is my end leads us to question, as Nauchiketas did, what happens when we die? Who is it that dies? Who am I? In my end is my beginning is the answer to this question. Yama says to Nauchiketas, the self is never born, never dies. He sprang from nothing and nothing sprang from him. He is the unborn, the eternal, the abiding, the ancient one. He is not slain when the body is slain. Like Jesus said, whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will find it. I think when Jesus says for me, he refers to the eternal self. And so he's saying, in my end is my beginning. We let go of our clinging to this temporary life, which is destined to end in death, and enter into our true identity as the one who is never born and never dies. Yama goes on, smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, the self abides in the heart of every being. All the endings in life are so painful for us. Birth is a joyful occasion, but it ends our womb life in pain and struggle. Weddings, joyful occasions, but people always cry at weddings because the new beginning always brings an ending. The dawn of a new year brings the old year to an end as we realize all it held is just a memory. And death is perceived as a sorrowful event, yet it is a birth into a new reality. So we experience pain in endings because we have a deep-rooted identification with temporary things and with our ephemeral body. We forget again and again that which abides in the heart of everything. Quote, knowing the self, bodiless among bodies, the abiding among the ephemeral, the wise man does not grieve, says Yama. Die before you die and be resurrected now, says Rumi. These profound words from Rumi remind us that we do not need to wait for our bodily death to find the new transcendent beginning contained within our ending. Every day, life offers us fresh invitations to transcendence. For some, like for Dad, it's a life-threatening illness that evokes meaning and transcendence and calls on us to stop identifying with that which dies. Perhaps the death of a friend of a similar age comes as a reminder that we will die unless we enter into that which does not die. Usually I enjoy my birthday, which comes a few days before winter solstice. I couldn't do it this year because I was too wiped out from surgery and post-surgery hemorrhage, but usually I like to gather with friends and we can experience some warmth and light on a dark evening. And yet, with each birthday, life's ending draws closer. So the really special gift on your birthday is a card from the cosmos saying, resurrection now. And at the end of each day, we enter into sleep, a little death. Usually when I'm falling asleep, I say, into your hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit to death. May I not sleep the sleep of forgetfulness. May I remember your name with every breath. Sleep is our little death. In the sacred moments between waking and sleeping, it's a special chance to direct our minds to the dweller in the heart. We sleep, it does not. The self remains ever wakeful, conscious, aware. As day dawns, we are resurrected from sleep to the waking state. And the sun rises, calling us not just, wake up. It's usually my kitty alarm right on my shoulder. Wake up, calling us not just to wake up, but to awaken. That radiant being in yonder sun. So hum asmi, I myself am that. as Isha Upanishad says. So life and death, they are invitations, but it's up to us to respond to the invitation. It's the practice of meditation that helps us learn to read the invitation and gain the skills to respond through moment-to-moment awakening. In our meditation, that's when we're choosing die before we die. We let go of our activities. We make time for nothing. We set aside time to do nothing. The past and the future keep beckoning us with all the agendas, all the notions that make up our temporal identity, yet we bring ourselves back again and again to this moment, this breath. We see that each breath dies into the next, just as day dies into night and night into day. With each day, with each sitting, with each conscious breath, we die before we die and are resurrected now. As Naucicatus leaves the halls of death, alive, awake, enlightened, we awaken moment by moment into the new beginning that is beyond all endings. In this body, in this life, without any fanfare, any grandiose experiences, but with ease, gentleness, simplicity, we pass beyond the sphere of death into the immortality that was and always is our true nature. Let us end as we began with T.S. Eliot's 4 Quartets. We must be still and still moving into another intensity for a further union, a deeper communion through the dark cold and the empty desolation, the wave cry, the wind cry, the vast waters of the petrel and the paupers. In my end is my beginning. Namaste.
Thank you for tuning in to Ayurveda and Spirituality with Alakananda Ma. We hope today's exploration has ignited a spark of curiosity and insight within you. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. For more enlightening discussions and practical wisdom on Ayurveda and spirituality, subscribe and join our Facebook group, Alundi Ayurveda. To allow us to continue sharing valuable content, consider donating to Alundi Ashram. The links will be in the show notes. Until next time, may you walk the path of Ayurveda with grace and embrace the light of spiritual wisdom in your journey.
Trayambakam yajamahe Sugandham